Today's video is sponsored in part by Braintree. World, YouTube, glad to see you guys back here once again on Tech Tomorrow, and now the overclocking gloves are coming off, and we're gonna do a totally battle of the overclocking giants. Now, on one side, we have AMD's RX 480 Red Devil! And on the other side, we have EVGA Superclock GTX 1060. Now, these cards are very close in price. With the AMD one, shockingly, that's right, a little higher priced. The AMD version, that's right, the Red Devil is $279, while EVGA's 1060 is $259. So right off the bat, you can see the EVGA is a little lower priced. Also, the EVGA comes with 6 gigabytes of GDDR5, and the other card comes with 8 gigabytes of GDDR5, so you can see right off the bat, these cards are, looking pretty even. Little things are different, but they're pretty even. So we took these cards, we overclocked them to their maximum values, and now we're gonna bring you those results, and we'll see who actually is the overclocking king of the ring in the entry-level cards. So let's first take a look at our test system, talk a little bit what we did and how we got our results, and then we'll check out those benches. We're using the Intel i7-6700K CPU. Now we keep this running at turbo mode at 4.4 gigahertz. We're also using an ASRock Z170 motherboard. This is their overclocked edition. We're also using 16 gigabytes of Ripjaw memory from the people over at G-Skill. We use Windows 10 exclusively for all of our testing, and we use the latest drivers available at the time of the testing. As far as power requirements go, the PowerColor Red Devil has a single 8-pin power connector that requires 150 watts of power to keep it going. The EVGA Superclock GTX 1060 has a single 6-pin power connector and only requires 120 watts of power. Now, as far as temperatures go, the Red Devil got as high as 68 Celsius, and as long as it stayed below 72 Celsius, the card ran fine. The EVGA Superclocked, however, it ran a little bit lower and showed a temp in the low 60s when it was overclocked. And even with the voltage and the fan speeds set to their maximum values, the fan noise still wasn't so loud you wanted to cover your ears. And with that said, let's jump in and let's check out the benches and let's see who wins when the gloves come off in the overclocking ring. Real quick before we get to the conclusion, I just want to give a special thanks and a shout out to our friends over at Braintree. Even the best mobile app will not work unless you have the proper payment API. And that's where these folks come in to solve all your problems. This is where Braintree's V.0 SDK comes in. One amazingly simple integration gives you every way to pay. It supports Android, iOS, and JavaScript clients, and it offers a simple integration that you can do in minutes. If this sounds good to you, try it out for yourself in the sandbox. All you gotta do is go www.braintreepayments.com/TOT. So when the overclocking gloves come off and they jump in the arena, we can see that the NVIDIA card is still winning by a slight margin. AMD did win in 4 or 5 games, so if you're an AMD diehard fan, we know that you're going to go out and get yourself an RX 480, and you're going to be doing it Red Devil style. But if you're a fan of NVIDIA, then you guys know the Superclocked edition of the GTX 1060 is a serious ass kicker as well. Now, the only caveat I see here is, like I said before, for the first time, the AMD card is actually the higher price card. And usually the biggest thing that I hear from AMD fans in general is that, hey, they have better pricing. So here you guys can see though, at this time, it's not really true because their card, even though it does have 2 more gigabytes of RAM, it runs a little bit hotter. You guys saw that, it does run a little bit hotter, and that has something to do with the overclocking. And there still is a little bit of headroom that you might be able to push out of that 1060. So at the end of the day, I mean, if you're just looking at raw numbers and performance, I think it's a no-brainer. I think the NVIDIA card actually is doing a little bit better. But obviously, if you're an AMD loyal fan, you're not going to turn your back on the red guys, so you're going to go with them. But you guys see the numbers, and hey, honestly, the RX 480 Red Devil, when it's overclocked, it does really well. I mean, it's really only like, it's such a wee margin behind that I don't think it's really going to matter. So if you don't mind spending that 20 extra bucks and you're an AMD fan, hey, then I guess for you the choice is clear. My name's Ulrich. You guys have been watching Tech Tomorrow. Like usual, we'll have all the information about this video. We'll have all the information about these cards. So if you want to check one out and buy it for yourself, that'll all be down to that look button. You guys know what to do. Peace.